Wanted to just recap this prep, man. Talk to you guys, share some life updates. All right, cool. We're live over here as well. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. What is going on? Your boy is back, baby. Let's go. Um, I just finished recording a podcast, and on that podcast, I actually dove a little bit deeper into where I've been the last couple months. And you might be following me on social media, and you might have seen what I've been doing. I've been balls deep in prep for sure. Last 8 months, we've been extreme dieting for the show. We're as I'm recording this, just about a week out from competing on the national stage, which is super cool to say. Um, but it's been a grind. It's definitely taken a toll on me for sure. And in that podcast, I dove deep on a few more deeper things that I think you guys could get a ton of value from. But with this live stream, I just wanted to open it up, talk to you guys, maybe a little bit of Q&A, see what's going on with you. Um, and catch you guys up to speed because, I've definitely been really zoned in the last 8 months, literally since I got back from Mexico. Me and Chelsea went to Mexico for a month back in April. And then once I got back, like the first week of May, I've been prepping since then. This will be my second show this year. Which is crazy to say. Last month got down to 30 grams of carbs a day plus 45-minute cardio sessions on the stairs, just absolutely crushing it, plus 5 training sessions, plus posing. I really didn't think that I was going to be able to complete it. Honestly, to be transparent with you guys, I thought about quitting many, many times, but I didn't, and I stuck it out, and we're here. And now, we're finally starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, which is incredible and feels really good to say. And it sounds weird to say that you're proud of yourself, but that's something that I've been working on trying to, you know, practice that a little bit more. And I think that's, probably a good thing for all of us to do as well. But there's a few of you guys over here on TikTok. Bran, what's going on? How are you guys? I wanted to have a little bit more of a conversation because the podcast that I recorded dives a little bit deeper into specifically, what that looks like. But it's really just an open floor. So maybe if you're curious about what it looks like to compete as a bodybuilder or take your physique or your fitness to the next level, why that could be something you would do, what that looks like, I'm here to talk a little bit about that. Max, what's going on, brother? I am essentially just wrapping up the last 8 months of what this prep has looked like for me. I just finished recording a podcast on that specifically, so I'm going to be posting that pretty soon. But I just wanted to reconnect with you guys and share a little bit about a few of the things that I learned. For me specifically, my number one core value with my company and my coaching is integrity. Basically, what that means for me is doing what you said you're going to do. And I hired my current fitness coach 2 years ago with the goal to go pro, and that's what we set out to do. So regardless if we get that done this weekend or not, I know for the last 2 years I have not missed a beat, and that's in my heart what I want to be able to say. And that's why I did it, even though there was a lot of circumstances stacked against me, even though I maybe had a lot of reasoning to pull out and not do it. I decided to go ahead and do that, and I think that for you guys specifically, there is so much that we could learn from this about ourselves, regardless if you're bodybuilding or competing or not. I do think there is many lessons inside of a fitness journey, not just physical. I'm somebody who, as a coach, like that's truly what I find more fascinating, for us as human beings is, like why we do the things that we do every single day. And the decisions that we make are creating our realities, whether we want to accept that or not. And sometimes we get wrapped up in our own shit and we don't realize how much of a toll it takes on us. And for me, with this prep taking so much out of me, it has pushed the other aspects of my life to the back burner. And I will be transparent and say that, my relationships and my business have definitely taken a hit, but I knew that going in. So now it's always, what can I learn from this? How could I be better moving forward? And for me, that's what fitness and bodybuilding is all about. Like every single day, how could I just get a little bit better today? What can I improve on? And these are questions to ask yourself, like the gym is such a small percentage of our lives, right? Like you can go in the gym 40 minutes, get a good sweat, get a good pump, but then it's like, who are you when you leave the gym and how do you conduct yourself? How do you speak to your loved ones? How do you show up for your family? What example do you set? Like for me, I think that's really what the process is about is you go in the mornings. I prefer to train in the mornings. You go in, you take care of yourself first. That way you could pour your best self into everyone and everything around you. And that's the mindset and the framework that I like to approach clients with, and essentially my life as well is that right there. Is like, yes, let's lose body fat, let's get jacked, let's feel good, but we recognize it's such a small window. So how can we learn more about ourselves inside of that process to take that into the things that we do every single day to be better men, better leaders, better examples? Like for me, that's the fulfilling process. And that's really what I took from this prep myself the last 8 months, like I was sharing with you guys who have been here at the beginning. It's been almost this entire year I've been prepping, and this will be my third show and my second this year. And dude, it's just like it has taken so much out of me. But what I chatted about in the podcast was transcending who I thought I was, because when you push yourself to that capacity where every single day you're like, I do not want to do this at all. Like the last 4 to 6 weeks, fully transparent with you, not a single ounce of me wanted to go to the gym, do cardio, to continue to eat just chicken and spinach, because that's literally what I was doing. Chicken, spinach, Stairmaster, grinding, training nonstop. It's definitely extreme taking it to that place, and you don't need to do that to get in incredible shape. Competition shape and like being pretty lean are two different things. So that's a different conversation for another day. But right now, just recapping the things that I learned inside of that, I was every single day testing my mental capacity and learning more about myself, because I thought I was this previous version. All right, follow me here for a second. We think that we're a certain type of individual, but taking your fitness to a new level allows you to see yourself in a different light, in a different perspective, not only physically, but mentally as well. And I think that's sometimes what we fail to recognize. We get really fixated on the physical representation of having less body fat, more abs, more muscle. And yes, that's cool. But if we're placing so much of our worth and our confidence and our identity in that, it's something that could leave you in a very vulnerable position, because there's a thing called body dysmorphia, right? Where you look at yourself and you feel like you look like shit. Like it may surprise some of you guys, but I personally hated the way I've been looking the last few days because we've been so flat and so depleted before we peaked. Peaking with bodybuilding is essentially like you're going to, for the weeks leading up, deplete your glycogen stores, your body fat so low where you're so flat and you look so small. That way, when you go to peak and fill up for the show, you can maintain the conditioning and the size and the fullness all at the same time. But it's a very small window that you could do that, which is why it's very time sensitive, which is why having a coach going through this process is really important if you are competing, because there's so many boxes to check that vary from person to person. That's why I believe in what I do. Anyway, on the topic of what I was just saying, I kind of lost my train of thought. I don't know. Can you guys help me get that train of thought back? I think I was talking about the person that you could become inside of the gym mentally. Yes, for me, it is more mental than anything. When you are continuously testing yourself. Oh, I was talking about relying on body dysmorphia, because when you wake up in the mirror, some days you wake up and you're like, man, I look fucking good, right? And then some days you're like, I fucking hate myself. Fuck. Why am I doing this? What is going on here? All right, have you guys ever been there? Let me know. Drop it in the comments. I think there was a question on TikTok. I want to scroll back really quick. Thank you for the follow, Sophia. I appreciate you. Why does a man knowing he is great will keep drinking, gambling? That's a relationship question. We're probably not going to cover that here today, Sophia. I was mainly talking about bodybuilding. Maybe we could cover relationships a different day. All the time, Max. Right. So you understand what I'm saying here. And that's the thing, right? If we're putting so much of our focus and our emphasis on the way that we look, we're just putting ourselves in a very vulnerable, crippled state. So then the question becomes, okay, cool. If we recognize that, well, what do we need to do differently? And for me, I'm trying to think about how can I improve as a man inside of this? What benefits can I get from this that will allow me to show up as a better version. So for example, I in the past have been somebody who has shied away from public speaking, whereas, the last few years, I'm going on my 5th year of coaching now in just about a few weeks, which is pretty awesome to say. I started back like late 2019, early 2020. But when I first started, I was pretty timid to go on social media. I was pretty timid, to get on a microphone and speak and all that. Whereas like now I genuinely look forward to it and I enjoy it because it's the same thing. It's like a muscle in the gym. You constantly are working at it and it gets better. So that's the thing, is because I worked on my physical representation of my physique and myself, right? It allowed me to see myself in a different light and take different actions. And now because I do that, I'm now perceived by other people as a different type of person. And that's what's really fascinating about the concept. Like, yes, you could change yourself physically, but when you start to see yourself differently, it changes everything around you. And that's for me why I become so passionate about it. And I think, I don't want to knock other coaches. I think a lot of people get very fixated on the actual physique itself, which is incredible. I think there is a piece to that. But what I'm asking you is, how can you take this a step further and maybe just a layer deeper and try to zoom out and think about, why do I want to look a little bit better? Why do I want to lose this body fat and build this muscle up? What am I ultimately trying to achieve here? For me, with competing and bodybuilding, I just want to see what I'm capable of. And I want to push myself to my absolute capacity and bring to the place where my business and relationships take a hit, for sure. I'm not saying you need to do that. But I was willing to push myself to that place because I've experienced a lot of regret in my past. And for me, it's been a really challenging thing to, deal with. And I just kind of got to a place where I hit my rock bottom 5 years ago, where I didn't want to experience that anymore. And I think that's something for us all as human beings that maybe we could shine a little bit more light on, is you don't need to hit that rock bottom in order to change, right? I think you could just maybe hear this message right now and something may land with you, and you may take that initiative and that first step to do something differently. And ultimately for me as a coach, it's the most rewarding and fulfilling thing. Because yes, I've worked with hundreds of clients who have lost body fat and build muscle. Cool. Right. But it's like, I get more fired up when, for example, I had a weight loss client, Debbie, who was working with me last year, where she started to really gain a lot of traction in her program. And then because of her actions, her family started to also follow her. When she first signed up with me, she was getting a lot of pushback from her family. And then within a few months in the program, she dropped 20, 30 pounds. And then her family started also coming around, going to the gym with her. And I have countless stories of that as well. But for me, that's what it's all about, is how can we help other people? And I think the capacity that, and I always say this, if you're on my team or you're one of my clients, this. I always talk about this. The capacity that we are able to lead others is the capacity that we lead ourselves. So it's always like, if you're frustrated with the lack of results that you don't have, it's usually in the work that you're avoiding. And subconsciously, we're aware of that, but we don't do it anyway. And it's those micro commitments every single day that are stacking for you or against you. And that's the main thing that I want to give you guys here today. So I could spend a lot of time going through these things, but I'd rather open it up for a little bit of a Q&A, because I already spent like a good 20, 30 minutes recording that podcast. So I wanted to come on here and chat with you guys. Max, if you're still here, let me know if you have any questions on that. Lexi, I want to be better, stronger for my kids. I want them to be proud of me and look up to me as an example. So that's exactly what we're talking about, is, are you being that example right now? I posted this on my story the other day. A lot of people say they would die for their kids, but how do you live for them? I personally don't have kids, but the actions that I take every single day is I'm trying to think about how I'm showing up for them right now. Right? Like I forgot what event that I went to, but I remember, I think it was a previous business coach of mine, and he had said something along the lines of, you could tell your kids to be whatever they want, but you gave up on your dreams, right? Like, you roll over and have the cheesecake when nobody's looking. And that's something that hits deep for me, is like, who are you when nobody's watching? I can confidently go up on stage in front of hundreds of people in my underwear because I don't fucking miss behind the scenes. All the shit you don't see me do, you don't see me post on social media, is why I have the confidence and the physique that I have. I don't come from a fitness background. Nobody in my family is a bodybuilder. I'm the first one in my family to graduate college, to be a bodybuilder, to run a business, to move. All my family's back in New York. I moved here by myself to originally. I now live with my girlfriend, but I moved here originally by myself to start my business, to compete, to just start over in life, and have a new chapter, and go through those things myself. Taking me for a run right now, dude. I appreciate that. Me and Max connected this morning. He lives in my complex. Great dude. We're gonna help him out as well. Thank you for spending some time with me here today, brother. Yeah, I like to just come on here and chat with you guys. If there's certain questions that you have based on what I'm saying, cool. I also record the podcast a little bit separately. It just depends, on what you enjoy listening to. If you're visual, cool. If you're audio, cool. But Lexi, I'm not sure if you're still here. I don't know if you answered that question. Are you that example right now? Because if you're not, that's something to unpack. And we could talk about that. If you're open to it. If you're not, that's okay. Joy, what's going on? How are you? Tell me a win. I just ranted for like 30 minutes. So if you have, I know you mentioned something in the Slack channel this morning. If you wanted to talk about it, I'm here for you. If not, I understand. Now that my prep is done, you can probably feel it. I just mentally knowing I don't have to do more cardio and I have a little bit of food. I just I feel so much better about myself. And you guys might have seen me take a little bit of a back seat on my social media and podcasting, mainly just because my capacity was so low. And I don't want to use prep as an excuse, but I was just really focused on just getting it done and executing and just doing the non-negotiables and just, letting the chips fall where they may. 100% they drove me. They're incredible athletes. There you go. I love it. When is I have a lot of peace going into the new year. I love that. Me too. I recently got baptized. I recently have really developed my faith, my relationship with God, with my partner, Chelsea, as well. That's been such an incredible experience, man. I posted that on my feed a couple times over the last few weeks. I would probably say 2024 has been the most challenging, but most rewarding year of my entire life. It's really difficult to put into words the things that I have learned this year, from having the hospital scare back in February to tearing down my business, to parting ways with multiple business partners, to restructuring who I'm working with, traveling to multiple different places. I lived in Mexico for a month. For a month this year. I was in Tulum with Chelsea waiting for a visa. We got a dog. We got baptized. There's just been so many things I've done. I'm gonna compete for my second show this weekend, so 2 shows this year. I spent majority of this year in prep, but there were still a lot of other things that I did. Working with a spiritual mindset coach, really healing a lot of parts of myself. I found breath work, just so many things that I've learned about myself this year. 28 years of life, man. It's crazy to say. But we're still here and we're learning more every day. Started adding Pilates into your routine. I love that. Incredible. Awesome. How's my prep? I'm just finishing up, actually. I'm actually on my peak week. I'm competing on the NPC national stage this weekend. It gives me the chills to say that, man. I'm fucking stoked. I was originally really in my head the last few days, but with the way that we started peaking my physique the last few days, I feel a lot better. Even just having more food mentally and psychologically, I just feel like more of a human being. And from the depths of my soul, I cannot explain to you guys how excited I am to just have a little bit of food and have a Christmas and be a little bit more of a human being. I've been an absolute robot since April, truthfully, but I've learned so much about myself, and that's what I'm excited to share with you guys. So just expect, within the next few months, I actually just brought on a new member for on our team to help me with the content side of things and the marketing side of things. So you guys are going to see a little bit of a shift when it comes to the way that I'm putting out videos for you guys. And I'm just really excited about it, especially, if you're in the more advanced lifting category in the bodybuilding space. There's going to be a really good batch of content coming out for you guys in the next few weeks. And I'm just very, very excited to share that with you all. Max, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I'm very excited to get up there. We're going to be lining up with the big dogs, man. This is no joke. Just for context, what the national stage is, you have to qualify to compete on that stage. You can't just show up. It's kind of, you have to do the regional show and you have to place top 2 in your class. So not everybody gets the opportunity to do that, and for me, this only being my 3rd show and, technically my first true season of bodybuilding, even though I've been bodybuilding pretty consistently for the last 5-6 years. For those who don't know, I'm a former athlete. I played Division I collegiate baseball at the University of Albany, graduated back in 2019. And, in that process of rediscovering myself and figuring out, what I wanted to do, I decided to get into bodybuilding because I've always been an athlete. I played football and baseball my whole life. That's all I know. But once you graduate college and you go into the corporate world, you're trying to figure yourself out. And you're trying to figure out what you want to do. And that's not always the easiest thing. And I had a really difficult time. And that's where I fell and hit my rock bottom in 2019. And that's really what got me into the gym, because fitness saved my life. I've made posts about that time and time again. If it wasn't for the gym and being able to work on myself and reducing my anxiety, my depression, the negative self-talk, I don't know where I'd be. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I saw the transformation that I had. And I was like, if I could do this, then anybody can, because I was so far gone, man. Like, truthfully, I don't know how I'm in this position today. Well, I do. It's by practicing the things that we were talking about: integrity, discipline, right? Showing up when you don't feel like it, doing all the hard things. Take nothing else from this conversation. Just do the shit you don't want to do over and over again. And eventually, over time, when you pick your head up, you'll probably have some results. And if you don't, you should probably hire somebody. Real shit though. Carson, what's up, brother? How are you, my man? Good to see you. Good to see you. We got to catch up again soon, man. Hope you're doing well. As you could tell, I got a refeed today. Cardio's done. Peak weeks here, man. I'm feeling fucking good. I feel a lot better than I have the last few weeks. I was in the fucking valley of shadows the last few weeks, bro. That shit was crazy. Joey, what's going on, my man? How are you? Lexi, not sure if you're still here, but keep up the good work. I'm proud of you. Susan, thank you for the follow. Yeah, I hope I answered that question for you guys over on TikTok. Love to see it, brother. Good to see you, man. Any plans on competing next year? Joey, that's a great question. To be completely honest with you, my intentions heading into 2025 is I'm putting, I don't want to say my fitness on the back burner, but my bodybuilding career has been really top of mind the last 2 years. And I'm just excited to take a step back. I really want to focus for this coming new year on my relationships and my career. I want to pour into my clients, my content. I really want to double down on podcasting again. I'm just excited to really show up for other people more, because I feel like let's just be real. For those who don't know, my personal opinion is that bodybuilding is a little selfish. And I don't mean it from the sense of like you're doing it purposely to be selfish, but it is such a game that demands so much of you and requires so much of your energy that it's inevitable for some of those other things to take a little bit of a hit, and I've had a lot of conversations with my coaches, my mentors, my girlfriend as well. It's nothing personal. It's just like, this requires a lot of you to get on stage and compete and be that lean for that long. In order to get to that place, it's not for everybody. It's not something that is really easy. But what I'm saying is, you don't have to compete to be in really good shape. You can still have abs and enjoy your life. And that's what I'm looking forward to, because in my off season, I still was in good shape. I still had abs. I still had a good amount of muscle and low body fat. And I was eating out once a week. My coach and I, we would program in free meals. So a lot of people like to call them cheat meals. I'm not a huge advocate for that, because the perception of that you need to cheat on your diet, I think, is a flawed way of looking at it. The reason why I like to say free meals is, if you're consistently tracking your calories using MyFitnessPal, you should be if you're not doing that. But if you're doing that, then just once a week, psychologically going to a dinner with, your partner or family, not worrying about tracking and just enjoying yourself, you could essentially view that as a refeed, not worry about tracking. And then mentally, you give yourself the satisfaction. So that way you could push a little bit harder the following week. Now, there's so many little, intricate details and things that I could go into when it comes to making those plays with clients as a bodybuilding coach. And, I've taken multiple courses on that. And like, that's what I geek out on. And that's why I've gotten into coaching prep athletes, is because like, that's, for me, that's fun. Like, I like working with guys that are dedicated, that already have a good understanding, knowing what they're doing. And I specialize in taking them to another level, because you have to have a good foundation already built. I'm not somebody that works with beginners, because like, I can't sit here all day and tell you to track your macros. It's just, it's, I don't want to say not worth my time. I mean that in the nicest way possible. But there's so many other things that I've learned, and I feel it's a disservice to the world by me. I don't want to say dumbing myself down, but maybe playing to a lower level. I like to chunk myself up and talk about the higher ender shit when it comes to like gut health, hormones, blood panels, the way we structure training, the way we structure our food, carb cycling, competition prep, like all of those things, because that's what I've done for myself. And that's what's allowed me to really take my physique to new places. And, it just doesn't make sense for me to hoard this information. I love to give, I love to serve. That's biblical. That's what I believe in, Christ Jesus, in the name of the Lord, that we're here to serve other people. Like, I believe I'm just a vessel. He's probably channeling through me right now, which is why these words are coming out so effortlessly, because I am just here to connect, to learn, to grow, to serve. I am nothing without the support of you guys, with my clients, the followers, everybody on social media who continues to support me. I wouldn't be able to do this stuff if it wasn't for you guys, and that really does mean so much to me. So in any capacity, if you're somebody who supports me, follows me, you're one of my clients, whatever the case is, thank you. If you're a friend, family, thank you. I think that's another good point to go back to the question on TikTok, is like, what's my intention for this year? I think it's I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. I wouldn't say maybe give myself more credit, but I think we could all probably do a better job of celebrating our wins. The fact that I'm approaching my 5th year of coaching and being in business is a huge win for me. I'm very, very thankful. Probably get emotional thinking about that. Try not to. Because this was a dream of mine. And it's crazy. It's crazy because so many of us set out to achieve goals and achieve dreams, and then we get them and it's not enough. We just want more and more. We just want to take more and more. But that's a question for you as well. When is it going to be enough? Is it ever going to be enough? That's something I think about all the time. That's something I'm actively working on right now. Even in this moment, I didn't expect to get emotional with that. I didn't expect to give myself credit to say, hey, I've been coaching now for 5 years. That's a fucking win, man. That's really cool. Because you know what? There's a lot of people that I know that came up in the space that aren't doing it anymore. And I can't speak for other people. I don't know why others make the decisions that they make. And I've thought about, giving up at times too, but we're still fucking here. And that's the point. That's the point. Thank you, Joey. Super proud of you from your previous shows. Keep up the work. Merry Christmas, brother. Dude, thank you. Thank you so much, brother. Right back at you. I appreciate you. And this is the thing, man. I just don't think there's enough good people in the world doing good things. I think that there is a lot of stuff that we could probably cover. And I could probably spend fucking hours on this microphone talking about shit, But for the sake of today, I really just wanted to come on here and share some of the things that I've been through in hopes to help inspire you guys and maybe just take a little bit of energy and take a different step today, because, that's truthfully what this is all about. Joy, seeing relationship grow with the Lord has been absolutely amazing. It's pushed me closer to him as well. Thank you. See, and this is the thing, guys. You never know who's watching. You never know the impact that you could have on somebody else by taking initiative for you. Just sit in that for a moment. You never know how far you can go until you're willing to push yourself just a little further. And if you do that, you never know who you could inspire. You just don't. And if you choose to play small and you stay in your comfort zone, it's a very lonely life to live, because there's so much opportunity in the world. There's so much to learn, to grow, to be, to give. And I've fallen into that trap as well. And that's what I want to give you here today, is take a different action for yourself, because your future self needs it. If you never start, you'll never know. You miss all the shots you don't take, right? If you don't swing the bat, you can't get a hit. And I don't know what that looks like for you. I don't know if you need to hear that today or not, but I hope that it finds you well. And that's what I have for you guys here today. So I appreciate you guys spending some time. I'm pretty hungry, though. I'm going to go get my next meal. I hope you guys have the best day of your entire lives, and I'll chat with you soon. Much love. Peace out, Cub Scout. Thank you guys so much for coming on. That was fucking fun, man. I needed that. To think that I stopped doing that is crazy. Love you guys. Thank you. Bye.